do not wish to be recorded, please let us know at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. We'll call this meeting to order tonight at 6:01 p.m. Please rise if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We've got some big stuff on our agenda tonight. We will start this evening with board recognition. I'll start. I would like to congratulate the Orting High School class of 2025. Last month, 220 graduates crossed the stage to celebrate the culmination of their hard work and dedication. We are proud of our seniors and wish them the very best as they take their next steps in careers, college, military service, and beyond. So graduation is one of my favorite days of the school year. And I would also like to honor the staff, Renee, everybody who put that event together. It truly is a community event, and it was fantastic to celebrate with our students. So, the board, I'll turn it over to you.
I'll follow up with extending a sincere thank you to State Representative and our current City of Orting Mayor, Joshua Penner. He came in and served as our principal for a day at the middle school. Mr. Penner visited schools, spoke with students and staff, and experienced firsthand the incredible work happening in our classrooms each day. We appreciate his time, partnership, and support of Orting students and educators.
Across the district, students celebrated the end of the school year with exciting activities like field day, assemblies, and special events. These moments would not be possible without the dedication of our staff, volunteers, and community members. And thanks to everybody who put this together. And I want to say that I got to see the high school field day in person because I was walking to the river, and I was so excited. They had so many different things, and the teachers were competing against the kids in like cornhole and kickball and all kinds of things. It was just so fun. It was just so exciting. Everybody was having a good time. There was food. There were henna tattoos. I mean, it was like, I almost just stayed there, but I thought, I almost played kickball, but I thought if I fell, then I would just ruin the day. But I really wanted to play kickball.
She's got a tattoo.
No, I wanted to play kickball more than the tattoo.
I want to shout out, we are proud to recognize the Orting Middle School Choir for the incredible performance, Star Spangled Banner at the Seattle Mariners game. We did that the last 3 years. So yeah, it's awesome that they keep doing it and they keep getting us back. The performance was even made even more exciting when J.P. Crawford hit a grand slam into the Orting section.
Oh!
Congratulations to our talented students for representing our district so well on such a big stage.
That's awesome.
I'd like to give a shout out to the Orting Middle School for their art show and project. I think it was 10 students received the golden paintbrush award, and they always have so many cool exhibits, and it's really amazing to see all the different talents at Orting Middle School. So,
Yeah.
great job.
Big month for the middle school right there.
Right, yeah. I've appreciated getting to see the art show year over year and how you can see the nature of the assignment, but how the students, exercise their
Yes.
agency and making it original and of their own creativity. I think that's excellent.
One that is not, I got to attend the middle school awards ceremony. And that was really cool. They have so many different awards for all different kinds of things, and it was just really exciting to see. how they honor people, and the kids were all very supportive of each other, so it was really nice to see.
Very good. I'm glad you got to go to that.
I personally hadn't.
Very good.
Somebody I knew got to.
All right. If that's it, all good? All good. Lots of good stuff still happening even though school's out.
Well, I just have to say that it's so nice to see Mr. Freeze over there, sitting in the, sitting with the cabinet. So good luck, Mr. Freeze.
Oh, and I want to say, boy, the grounds keepers are working hard. Oh, my goodness. Whenever I go for a walk, they're out there, they're power washing, they're cleaning, they're trimming things. It's just, wow.
I've seen on Facebook painting going on in the schools and, yeah, getting it ready. Yeah.
Won't be long.
Thanks to that group of people for sticking it out in this hot weather.
Really?
doing
Yeah,
that.
Really?
100%.
Yeah.
Have they started Hoodall yet? Oh, Hoodall is what you call it in logging when you work. In the middle of the like 2 in the morning till.
Right now, our earliest crews arriving at 4 a.m. daily.
Oh, wow.
Our classified staff are amazing. We're going to do a pizza celebratory lunch. I think we have over 30 temporary staff we've hired this summer to get through all of the work to be ready for school. So, yeah, it's full steam ahead for that crew.
I have to say, I love that you guys hire the classified staff to do that in the summer. It gives them the option for, I had a few over at my house and they were like, oh, wow, we've been working physically all day long. It's really
Hard all day long.
But it gives
It's
them
hot.
extra money and extra hours, so, yeah.
Are there
I-
a couple of high school kids again? I mean,
We have some-
graduated? Yeah,
some
I thought I
young-
recognized
Yep,
them. Yeah.
absolutely.
I got to see one of the football kids that coming in, freshmen, and they did football camp, I think, last week, and super successful. Sound like a lot of praise to even the JV team, and yeah, so, yeah, that was good too.
They're working them hard.
Can't wait for Friday Night Lights. All right, thanks, board. Next up is community and staff comments, and I don't believe anybody has signed up to speak tonight. So we will move forward to the superintendent's report.
All right, our last meeting was early June, so I tried to capture some celebrations and highlights from then until now, and you're going to have a couple of clips featuring our student voices, which we love to elevate across the district. This one I thought you would find fascinating. As you know, this was the first year for free meals at Ording Elementary School. Next year, as you know, there will be free meals at Ptarmigan Ridge. Look at the data of how many more meals were served this year. 36,267. As you know, we were serving so many breakfasts, we had to move this year to breakfast in the classroom because our lunchroom was never built to serve the amount of kids that we have, let alone that kind of volume. Next year, well, this year in aggregate, over 42,000 more meals served than the previous year. And as you know, we had a slight uptick in enrollment, but not a giant uptick. So it's doing the wonders to get more kids food. We couldn't tell you at this point how good or bad that is fiscally, because serving that many more meals is a higher labor cost and a higher commodities cost, but it brings a guaranteed revenue with it from the state. So part of it, we have to do the math and figure out what we need to plan additionally for next year, because if that pattern holds true, Ptarmigan Ridge has more students. We may top that number again next year. So we'll keep you updated, but we're very happy to be providing that kind of meal source to our kids and our families. It saves their bottom line. If you figure $5 a day times students, that's a nice savings for our families. Early learning support, I will share the video, but not before I publicly thank Representatives Penner and Stokesbury in the 31st, Senator Fortunato in the 31st, and Senator Chris Gildon in the 25th. Collectively, they helped to support and advocate. We were the largest recipient for funding for early learning across the state. The most any other district received was $1 million. We received 4.592. Director Freeze, in his new capacity, has been calling the Department of Commerce, where's our money? What are the rules? What do we do? They don't have it allocated yet, but within the next 6 to 8 weeks, they anticipate getting it. Then we'll get clarity on the expenditure. So we're probably still looking at late 2026, early 2027, but part of our fun when school starts will be working with our early learning crew, thinking about what would the playground look like, what would our classrooms look like, what are the kinds of equipment and furniture we would need to engage our kids. Keep in mind that facility will allow us to effectively double from about 80 to 160 the amount of early learning kids we can support each day. Bonnie, would you just share their thank you?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And that's all you get out of 3-year-olds. But that was pretty good, so we were happy with that. We definitely want to keep those public shout outs and make sure our representatives know how much we appreciate their support here locally.
Thank you.
It was cute enough to see again.
It was really cute, but I got another cute one too, which I'll hold for a minute. Field day. Every school held a field day within the last couple weeks. I wanted to put a few pictures up. The students just were enamored. You can see the blow-up races there at Ording Elementary, some sumo competition happening, obstacle course at the middle school. There's the ever-favorite parachute that we all did when we were kids. That's still a hit. So a lot of fun in field days, a great way to help wrap up the school year and celebrate.
I saw a banana.
Yeah, but that wasn't me.
That wasn't
I didn't do the banana. The banana will come back again in the fall, but that was not this kid. We said goodbye to some amazing people, tried to put those celebrations out there publicly as we said goodbye to our retirees and our resignations, which is bringing some new faces here tonight. Carrie Joy will be presenting tonight as Director of Human Resources, and of course Director Cliff Reese in Business and Operations, so you'll hear from them tonight. Make them weep. After we all practiced graduation, they left in their caps and gowns and visited our facilities. Boy, we put a lot of the pictures out online. These are just a few. Our kids love it. Our staff love it. Our seniors love it. They go back and look at their kindergarten handprints at Ording Elementary. So lots of fun to be able to get that out. We're trying to put those pictures out so our families can access them as well, because we take way more than end up online, but we want to make sure our families have them. So there's some more Make 'em Weep pictures as they visited every school with some cool atta-girls, atta-boys from our students. Which fed graduation, one of the largest activities here in town. Daffodil Parade beat us this year, but graduation runs a pretty good close second with 3,000 to 4,000 people in attendance. Love the partnership with our emergency responders, OPD, leading them in down the trail. And then we have some cool photos of what that looked like. Love our performing arts, and just appreciate all the support from our families and everybody that came to say way to go to our kids. This is a cool video. We started this Hear From Us Kids campaign, trying to get more voices elevated. Brittany wondered, this was her idea, what would it sound like if our kindergartners interviewed our seniors? So we're going to play that. What does it look like with our beginning learners talking to those that are just about graduated?
And now hear from us, students.
Today we're interviewing our seniors. What is your favorite school memory?
I have quite a few, but I think one of my most favorite ones is going on field trips with all of my friends in my choir class. Do you have a favorite school memory?
Playing with my friend on the first day of school.
That's a pretty cool memory.
I'm going to be a firefighter.
You want to be a firefighter?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I want to be?
What?
I want to be some cool scientist dude who builds like airplanes and stuff. Because you know why?
Yeah.
You got to follow what you want to do. Like if you like to do something, there's going to be a job that you can follow, right?
Yeah. What's something you learned since kindergarten?
I learned to just enjoy my time with my friends. Like, don't waste any of your time, like, caring about what other people think, and just have fun, go to school events, do spirit weeks. Yes, every single one of you do a spirit week. They're so fun. Oh my goodness. And just live life. Don't think you guys are gonna be high school graduates like that, yo.
Have you ever lost a tooth at school?
I did. I think it was in first grade. I don't remember how I lost it, but I know that I did have to go to the office and get one of those little tooth things. And that was something. Did you ever lose a tooth at school?
to know. How old are you?
How old am I? I just turned 18 like a month ago. That means I'm an adult now. I can do so many things. How old are you?
6.
6? You only got 12 more years.
It's very fun how we actually get to do lots of fun things. Do you get to do lots of fun things?
Is that your favorite memory?
Yes.
Do you want to know my favorite memory?
Yes.
Okay. I think my favorite memory was going to Seattle Cancer something in Seattle, and we got to like break a Guinness School record with like making the most DNA out of strawberries.
That's very, very good.
Very good. Put it here.
Octopus.
Kudos to Brittany, great idea.
A lot of fun. So just next year, more opportunities to engage kids, get voiced, communicate, and engage with our families, our kids, our local community. I put some data in here just because Brittany tracks just, is it resonating? Just from 23 to 24, we got more likes this year. Several thousand views. Instagram is pulling more likes and thousands more views than the previous year. So clearly the local community is liking the access and the opportunity to engage with it. Live stream, we had 1,400 viewers on the live stream and more than we did the previous year. And just that alone, it's bringing in brand new likes on Facebook, brand new likes on Instagram. So we're getting lots of likes and views. Look at the Facebook data, over 45,000 views from the graduation reel. So clearly that's resonating. People are becoming accustomed to our mailers, our posts, the habits, the cyclical routines. So that's working. We just want to keep doing a better job of getting more stories, more videos, more snapshots. That led us into the last day of school. We continue with the tradition of sending our elementary students off with bubbles, so wanted to throw some pictures and some smiles. There were some tears in there. There were smiles and tears and all the above, but it won't be long and they'll be right back here because you're going to blink and it'll be there. Director Milo mentioned our students performing at T-Mobile, so I wanted to throw a picture there of what they look like, singing to the crowd. I wasn't able to go this year, but that is several years in a row, and we're very proud that our choir was selected as the presenters at the WASDA conference, which will be to all 295 school boards and superintendents in November. So I know those kids are looking forward to that in the fall. Lastly, huge kudos to Director Westover, to her support staff, Stephanie and Katrina. They combed through every IEP, every claimable expense, and our safety net award is tilted north of $1.7 million, almost $1.8 million. That is conditionally awarded. They have to do the final documentation and provide the evidence. That is almost $1 million more than we budgeted.
Wow.
It does meaning we're spending lots of money, so when this community does support the levy, the EP&O, special ed is nowhere close to fully funded, but we are able to coop a good amount of those costs back. So we're pretty excited about that, and kudos to Director Westover and her team for pulling lots of resources. Literally, it's making the difference from us having to close important programs and let people go to keeping the lights on. $1 million is no small change. So kudos to her, and that wraps up my report for the month. We'll be back again in August. I don't know with what, but we'll find something.
Special ed summer school.
Maybe a little summer school. Could be some summer school sound bites, a little bit of snapshots from what's happening with summer work. I don't know. But it's been a good month.
A continuation of that last bit of Dr. Westover's work. I'm not sure I fully understand, but what I have heard and seen in my own personal family, that work is a lot of paperwork, a lot of paperwork, and it is tedious and it is time consuming. And thank you so much. I know it's part of your job, but thank you for being so detailed and getting those resources for the school, for the students.
Great report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done ending on money.
We like that
The
news.
positive.
Yes.
And boy, Brittany takes great photos.
Yeah, she
does.
does.
She really captures the spirit of the encounter that's going on.
Yeah.
Very much so.
All right. May financial report. I did not have questions myself, nor did I see any. Thank you. And now, presented by. Just got acutely warmer, didn't it?
Got warmer suddenly.
Think.
Like it just went up 10 degrees in the last like 30 seconds. Really good. You can just breeze through this. I can breeze through.
Yes, you know that.
Simple. I like having that one up there. Okay, so this is our initial draft of the 25-26 budget for the school year. Some of this is repetitive, but I'm still going to do it again anyway, even though you all know this. We have multiple different fund types. The general fund, which is the biggest part of our budget. ASB, which is student-led and student-driven and student-funded and student-spent. Debt service fund, which is all for our outstanding debt. We don't have any current bonds, but we do have some non-voted debt that goes through there every year. Capital projects, this is where our impact fees come in or any big projects get paid out of. Transportation vehicle is all about school buses. Money comes in for depreciation on school buses, and we pay for school buses out of that. The last one is our private purpose trust fund, which I can never say quite right, but it is for our scholarships. So any high school scholarship money that comes in, I believe there's a resolution tonight to a new scholarship that the high school started. The money goes in there and the money goes out of there. So all about that. Each of those funds has its own special budget, revenues and expenditures, and a whole separate chart of accounts for each one. Altogether, we create one district budget summary, which you guys have. I'll go through quickly, I think, maybe. I don't know if I gave it to Bonnie to go through. So you have it, though. But we do the budget summary because it's a lot easier to read than the OSPI document that is hundreds of pages. And so we try to make it a summary that the public can see on our district website, look through it, and ask questions when we have our public hearing in August. Our enrollment for the 25-26 school year, we're budgeting, our guesstimate is 2715. Yep, 2715 in K through 12. We do our normal look at January's enrollment. It's held true every single year. We haven't needed to switch that for a very long time. January enrollment, and we roll them all up a grade. We guesstimate at kindergarten. We guesstimated a little bit wrong in 24-25 at kindergarten. We had a little bit less. So our enrollment for this year is actually a little lower than last year because of the kindergarten count from last year. So we have a couple ALE kids that we serve, the Open Doors program, which is really a dropout prevention, a last chance for some kiddos that didn't graduate. It goes up to a higher age level than our graduating 18. Grades 11 and 12 running start, we have some of those. And then CTE numbers, we're budgeting 372 for next year, and we'll go through some of the charts in a second, but you'll see an increase in CTE, and the increase in CTE is because we added 8th grade science into CTE in the 24-25 school year. I didn't budget in 25-26, we're then budgeting, we're adding 7th grade science into middle school CTE. I didn't budget a big increase in CTE numbers because I don't know what it's going to exactly look like, but we know it's happening for next year. And then our age 3-5 special needs kids, the Early Learning Center, and our special needs K through age 5 through 21, 22.
Yeah, 20.
Did that just change, right?
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
22 now? Oh.
22.
22, recent. So chart of what our enrollment looks like across the district from 2014, 15 through now. You can tell that 24-25 is slightly higher than 25-26. We still have been going on the upward trend. We know the upward trend is going to increase a lot soon, but it's been holding pretty steady at a slow increase every year that we've been able to manage a little bit better than this big increase that's probably coming in the next few years. CTE is the chart on the left, and as you can see, there's a big increase from 23-24 to 24-25, budgeted right over to the same number for 25-26, but I know there's going to be an increase in there that'll generate revenues and expenditures that'll pretty much offset each other.
The right one is our Running Start. Our Running Start has been slowly kind of decreasing in numbers, and that's expected as the high school has added college and the high school classes, offerings, so the kids can stay here rather than have to go out for Running Start if they choose to. So our Running Start numbers have been decreasing over the years due to that. Our special ed numbers have slowly been increasing. They're kind of steady-ish, but they do increase a little bit every year. So that chart shows that. The 3 through 5 numbers go up and down, so there's a big old dip a few years back as they added a Birth to 2 program that the funding went through the school district and then they took it back again. So that's why the really big dip in that year, and then we've been slowly increasing back up with our 3 to 5 numbers since then. Where's the money come from? Well, as you know, our biggest amount comes from state apportionment. That's 56% of our budget. That is completely driven by our student FTE. It's a funding source. They tell us how much they're going to give us per kiddo, and that's what we get. We spend it on everything. Our next section is we get levy dollars, which is from the, obviously from the voters. That's 15% of our revenue coming in. State categorical, which is like transportation, special ed, ELL, which English language learners, which keeps changing acronyms, but the state categorical is about 23% of our budget. Federal funds, which is kind of good for us, is only at 3%, and it's good because we've been hearing a lot in the news about we don't know. So on the positive side, it's going to affect us. We just maybe not as much as some other school districts who have a larger federal funding portion of their budget than we do. It will affect us, just hopefully not as much. P programs is less than 2%, and that's really school sales, things that they sell at school. It's not a big part of our budget. Other funds is less than 2%, and honestly, that's we get revenue from the schools that our college and high school runs through, and that it's a really not a very big amount, but there's a little bit of money that comes through for the teachers for their extra work they do, and we pass that on. So that's what's in other funds, and that's kind of a new category because it's a newer thing that we've gotten. Pie chart of, I like pie charts. I think they're pretty. So there's a lot of pie charts. So the state apportionment, general purpose, is the biggest part, big old gray area. The state special purpose is the yellow area, and then everything else is smaller than that. Local, except the local is nice and blue. That's our local number. Where's our money go? Goes to teaching. 70% of our budget expenditures, it goes to our teachers and teaching activities in the schools. Maybe not teachers, but anyone who supports the teachers. Maintenance operations is about 6.5%. Building admin is under 5%. Central admin, which includes a lot of different sections, it's not just central office, but it includes some other stuff, is about 8%. Food service has been increasing this year. It's looking at about 2.5%. It's been slowly creeping up because of what, I almost called you Dr. Hassenmuller. Because of what he said before about our food service, we're receiving more foods. I'll tell you that now. No. Transportation is about 4% of our budget, and about 3% more that includes our technology, motor pool, and our district risk insurance. That's where all the money goes to, in a nutshell. Biggest section, another pie chart, because I like them. Total teaching is the biggest part, and then all the other ones are a little bit smaller. The yellow section is the next biggest, and it's central admin, but like I said, it's not just the central admin office. There's some other categories that fall into it, but it is the biggest chunk there. The odd thing is that, like, in the food service program, the food service supervisor isn't included in that, and this is all by OSPI and the way that they tell us things are split out. So while food service includes all the food service, it doesn't include the supervisor. While maintenance operation includes all the costs, it doesn't include the supervisor. Transportation, same thing. Why? I don't know, but those are included in the central admin numbers. OSPI does things the way they do, and we just follow along. Another way to look at where all the money goes. Teaching activities is the biggest section. It's just another way. OSPI gives us different parts of our account code structure that we can divide it in different ways. So it's just a different way to look at the same information. The words that follow that last one. Basic education is where most of our money goes to, followed by special ed is a big chunk of it. CTE has been a big part of it as well the last few years, other services and support services, which is the superintendent's office, the board of directors, trying to separate the special education support services versus support services. So there is different sections on there. The biggest section is basic ed, of course, and then support services is next, followed by special ed. Those are the biggest sections of our how it gets spent. Another way that it gets divided out is by what I call in the part of the count code structure is the object. So there's certificated salaries, classified salaries, how much the benefits are for the classified and the certs, supplies, services, travel, and capital outlay. Capital outlay means we're buying a piece of equipment that's over $5,000 or $10,000. It's a big thing that's going to sit. OSPI's count code structure makes us use that account for that structure to account for those funds. Another way to look at the way it's done, of course, the biggest section is certificated salaries, followed by benefits and classified salaries, and then the other sections are smaller parts, of course, because salaries is the biggest part of our budget. As this shows, the biggest part of our budget is salaries and benefits. It's about 80%. I think that's what that says. 79.27 is salaries, and the rest of it is stuff. So most of our stuff is driven by paid for people, of course. This is just a general old beginning fund balance, how much our transfers, we only have one transfer really going through, which is a transfer from, two transfers, I lied. We are paying, no, we paid it off. So we had an energy grant for a number of years. This is our first year the energy grant is not in the budget because the energy grant paid off in June. So there is no transfer out from general fund for that purpose anymore. The only transfer out is from capital projects to debt service to pay for the land over there. And so that will keep happening for quite a few more years until the land. We don't have any other debt payments, so there's no other transfers in or out currently planned for the next school year, but if there is, they'd show up on here. So those are all the projected beginning and ending fund balances and expenditures and revenues in just one little chart for all of our funds for the next school year.
Remind me where are we going to see the portables?
The portables would be in capital projects.
Okay, I think I saw them in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So capital projects, I have, so the money in the capital projects, the revenue includes what I'm guessing we're going to get for impact fees for next year, along with the money coming in for the early learning center.
Okay.
And then spending it all, because yeah, as far as I know, we're spending every penny of it. It depends on what that costs, along with whatever we can build. Impact fees have to be spent on new kids, not early learning kids, but new kids. And so as we build the portables in the high school or behind the high school or wherever they're going to go, that comes out of the impact fee part of it. Capital projects, the state requires us to have account codes to adjust, account for everything separately. So I have to keep track of impact fees in one pot. They don't get mingled. They're in one here, but separate in the account code structure.
Okay, thank you.
So a lot of years ago, the state required us to disclose to the board in every board budget meeting the MSOC disclosure. And why this happened is so they gave more money in MSOCs. MSOCs are the materials, supplies, and operating costs. The state gave us more funding in that section, and they wanted to make sure that the board was aware if we were spending the money the way that the state meant us to. So this slide shows you that we are spending more in those than the state provides, but we still get to show it to you every year. And it's in everything because they want to make sure
that we're aware that they're not fully funding.
Well, yeah, that's really what their point was. I wanted to make sure we weren't giving it away in salaries, but yes, we're definitely spending. And it's only certain categories. It's the categories on the screen are the ones that are actually funded by the state. So yes, we definitely spend more than, they give us more material, supplies, and operating costs on a yearly basis, and thank goodness for our local people who help us pay for the things that the state does not, because they do not fully fund us. Any questions?
Gotta come up with a question. I'll ask AI next time.
You'll ask AI.
Marcy's way nicer.
I'm easier to understand than AI.
Just out of curiosity, because it's what I've done for years, on the slide where you were talking about the account codes, where in those account codes and those sections would we see curriculum coming out of?
So curriculum, there's this, in our account code structure, I'm going to go through the whole thing. There's a program, a sub-program, an activity, and an object. Curriculum would actually have its own activity, and it have its own object. And so I can pull it up by either, because we have two, it's an activity is 33, so everything that has an activity 33 in its account code, I can pull a report, and that shows exactly what we paid for curriculum.
And would professional development be lumped in with the curriculum, or is that its own separate line?
No, it has, we have professional development, that is an activity 31.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's separate out, and then, yeah.
Okay.
And so books, curriculum would be have its own object, where curriculum stuff has its own object, so you can separate things out.
All under that big umbrella of teaching.
Yes, all in the big umbrella of teaching, exactly correct. Yes.
Thank you.
And you should be very happy with your pie graphs. I learned in my graduate statistic class that graphs and pie charts, all those are very powerful communication tools.
Good.
So-
I like pie
They're
charts.
easy to, they're easy
I figured out this year that I could pull them apart so they weren't like one pie. I thought that was kind of cool. Those are the things I learn as I play with pie charts.
Nice.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you,
Yeah, thank you, Marcy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then the
You hand
public,
that to Aaron or leave it there? Either way, yeah.
I'll walk it over to Aaron because that seems like the right thing to do. But the public hearing will be next, so.
Maybe this will be the year.
It'll be the year.
The year.
It'll be the year.
We need to drum up some interest and get some questions going.
Yes, and anybody in the audience, she's hoping for a question.
I think for my first question.
Yeah, and just to go on public record, we're very grateful for Marcy,
Yes.
who
Yes.
presents this
Yes.
budget presentation each year. We want it to be public record. We want the community to be able to access this and understand how our budget comes together. And then this is followed by our public hearing and budget presentation to the community, so that there's an opportunity to ask questions, weigh in if you disagree on how we're spending district money. To date, I think I'm on my 7th year, I don't know, they all blur together. There has not been a community question.
There has
So-
hardly been any community members.
Right, I'm always curious if this will be the year that the community will engage in our budget process and ask thoughtful questions, and this could be the year. I'm looking forward to it.
And I always urge people to come to when she does the presentations, because I have such complete understanding of it when she is presenting, and afterwards, I couldn't explain it, but I get it when she explains it. She's so terrific at it. She is a natural teacher at the budget.
Yep. And school finance is different. You
Yes.
manage your home budget as an adult, and if you work for a company and have access to the budget in that, that's a certain kind of budget. And then education has its own kind of budget and funding and revenue and expenditures. So there's a learning curve there. But
Much
we
more
invite-
restrictive.
Yes,
Yeah.
much more restricted. There are so
But
many more
when-
rules.
When she explains it, I can see and understand the checks and balances that are there
Yes.
to protect our organization and our students. So I really appreciate that.
Yes. Yes. Aaron, sorry to
Sorry.
ramble on your time a little bit, but please. It's your turn.
Oh, it's not my time, it's our time, so we're good. Good to go. And so I'm here today, hopefully at the end of my presentation, you'll be able to explain this to anybody, right? That's what we want. So I know budget is complex. This, I think, hopefully is a little more simple, and it really involves our connection with the community and the families we have within that. And so, we've actually had this strategic plan, really thinking about the 4 goals. But I wanted to go over the mission, vision, and core values, because there's some intentionality behind that. Our mission is really not to just engage learners, but we really want to elevate the unique talents of every student that's out there. And that vision is really important to us because we talked about relevancy and learning. That's a big part of that vision. And then our core values aren't just about high expectations, and those are really important. But we also talked about relationships and that personalization. None of that is possible without Goal 2. And our Goal 2 is really this community partnerships and connections that we have. And you're probably saying, well, what does that really have to do with learning? Because I think probably if I had to rate our most important goal that we have is probably academic growth. I'll just be honest with you. Our second most important, I think, is this one. I think it's really about partnerships, and you're probably saying, well, Aaron, why is that? And I'll get to that, I promise. I know you're going to say, well, why is that? So, but today we're talking about, I'm talking about the measurements of that. And this graphic right here on the left-hand side talks about 3 types of data that we've been really kind of working with since we started this strategic plan, really looking at like satellite data, which is something like state data. It's the bigger data that we can see throughout the system. Map data is, we're now getting down to more specific like school-based data. And then there's that street data that's super important. It's the experiences of people that are out there. And so with the measurements of our goals, we really talked about the quantitative and qualitative elements of each one of those. And quantitative is really those numbers, right? So when students take tests or when we collect actual numbers data from our community, that's the quantitative part. And then the qualitative part is like, what are the stories of the people? That's the satellite data. And if you're looking at like which one has the most power in terms of changing systems, it's really the second one, the qualitative. And so today I'm going to talk about both of those. The board really talked about 2 types of measures that we're going to really get into today. One is really around Panorama, which is we have a parent survey that we gave out and we got great response on that. And the other one is really around this dual credit idea of dual credits. And I was talking to Cliff before I got up here. I said, has there ever been a year that you've been principal where dual credits have actually decreased, like less kids doing it? He goes, no, never has been. So that's something that's growing in that connection with community. And so this is there's a lot of text on these slides. And I think someone, was it you, Cliff, that said, Aaron, you have this talent of putting a lot of text on one slide. And I'm like, yep. You can do a lot of stuff in one slide. But if you look at this, what is dual credit? Dual credit is really this connection between high school and the community, in that students, when they're taking their high school classes, can earn college credit or they can earn certification. And it's a great program because it gives kids a head start when they leave school. They can actually have a head start on their college education and or their education in terms of the technical programs that they're out there. And it's gotten more rich. I think when Ed and I were at the high school, this list would have been super small. And over the years, we really developed those relationships with universities and also really with the technical programs that are out there. And I was surprised, honestly, when I listed all of these, how many of these we have at the high school and how many kids engage in those. And I'll be honest with you, I struggle with how am I going to put that data on there? Well, on the left-hand side, it really talks about like 700 students in what's called dual credit course enrollments. That's just every period they take. And so like some students will take 2 or 3 of these, so they may count for 2, and other students may take 1, right? And so really looking at how that balances out in our system, and the measure that we chose to really look at is really, does this number change over time, right? Have we maintained the programs we have and grown those over time as well? But the diversity of programs that we offer as a district is really impressive. We're a small high school, we're a very small system, and the opportunities that kids have, I was like floored by that. And I think we're doing a really good job of that. So good job, Mr. Freese. Way to go. And good job, Matt, if you're listening as well. So the other data that we're looking at today is really looking at the Panorama survey that's been sent out to parents. We send this out probably at least once a year, but twice a year. The great thing about this survey is that we got nearly 300 families to respond to that. Now, if you think about how many families have multiple kids at schools, it represents a pretty big portion of our population. And I was really impressed by how many families really felt like they were welcome in schools. Like it's in the 90s across the board.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So if we asked families generally that responded to the survey, do you feel like you're welcome in schools? They'd say yes. And I wanted to say, like it says in Panorama, responded positively. And what they really do is they talk about like sometimes, most of the time, or always. And so that's a positive like response to what that looks like, right? Questions? And so it's the different schools. I didn't put those up side by side to compare schools and say, well, geez, look at Oregon Elementary, they have 99%. It's looking at that across the board, and that we're doing a really, really good job in terms of welcoming parents into our schools.
Yeah.
If you look at this next slide here is about family involvement and feelings of being God. How does it feel when you actually are interacting with people in a school? And there's several questions that come around, like how does it feel when you go to school? Like, do you feel like you're listened to? Are you a partner in the education along the way? And one thing that I was talking to Dr. Westover this morning, and I said, well, she said this, the old paradigm of schools is that you send a kid to school, and what happens is that they go to school for that 7 hours, and then they come back, and there's no interaction between home and really school, right? But if you think about, like I said earlier, I get to like, why is this so important? Well, think about a 24-hour day. And how many hours does that student spend at school versus spending really at home and in the community? And so we have to really think about how do we elevate and really show that value, what's happening outside of the school day, and partner with parents, because if we don't do that, it's at our own peril. And so these numbers are pretty good across the board, I would say, that we're actually, there's a good feeling across the board. Do our parents really feel valued in that process? So that's a good sign.
And
Yeah.
just an observation as I was going through these numbers. You know, I think when I grew up, everything was good as long as mom and dad didn't have to get a phone call, right? Because any communication between home and the school meant something had gone wrong. Not that I was a troublemaker, but I mean, you get the idea. And so I think, you know, generation after generation has probably grown up similarly in that, and many parents maybe still kind of expect that. And I think I want to acknowledge and praise our buildings, our administrators in our buildings for reaching out in positive ways to families. And it's not always negative, it is positive. And even if there is a combination of negative and positive in these, some of these numbers are something to be really proud about. If you're getting the call home for a negative concern with a student, and yet you're still feeling valued and that your ideas were heard, and I think that's really important. So, anyways, I know we'll continue to look at these over time, but as I'm digesting the numbers, I'm thinking about it in a couple different ways.
Yeah, there's opportunities, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We've actually seen firsthand how they do that with, you know, letters and cards and on the phone, and it's, I think that's so important to build that relationship.
Yeah, the man sitting right there taught me early on in my administrative career that everything that you do with parents is an opportunity, right? So if you are doing some discipline, it's an opportunity to really build a relationship. And I got to tell you, throughout my career, the best relationships and the strongest that I still have today happen through discipline, right? And so there's opportunities for us to do that. So it's not just when kids are messing up that we're going to like hammer them. It's like we have an opportunity to really connect with parents and kids and see what we can do together to really move those kids forward. So there's some trends in here that may or may not show up to you. I think part of the trend that I'm seeing with the data is that parents really feel welcome in schools. They really do. And they feel like we communicate with them pretty consistently. But there's a pretty strong desire of taking it to the next level. What I mean by that is that communication can be one way or two way, right? Like right now, I think the board values two-way communication. So I say something, you say something back, and we have a conversation. Well, parents are really desiring more of that. And they want to be partners of the education as opposed to just being told what's happening. And so even though they're very welcome in schools and there's great communication happening, the next step for us is really thinking about that two-way communication. How do we develop parents as partners? Because if we think about our mission and vision and our values, it is impossible that we will never achieve that unless we have parents as partners along that process. And by partners, I mean truly in the learning that's happening in classrooms, that's happening within schools. And so we don't just tell them what's happening in schools. We ask them, what's your desire for what's happening in school? What are you seeing at home? What are the things that your student really needs for learning? And those are all parts of communication, that partnership that we need to develop. And we'll probably see that in our next CSIP plans as we develop that moving forward. This last part's about, again, these are all great numbers. Well, most of them are great numbers, but really thinking about like how do we develop that two-way communication. I'm going to give you some solutions for some of these things. So it's not just about reporting of the data and saying, well, yeah, it'd be great if we had better two-way communication. We'll work on that. I'm going to give you some district-wide solutions that we're going to really work on and develop more of that. And so this is, remember I talked about we have two types of data, the quantitative and qualitative. This data has always been, up to this point, has been those numbers data, right? It's been that quantitative data. Well, this qualitative data, there's portions of the survey where parents can write in whatever they want. And so what I did is I took all of the nearly 300 responses and boiled it down into what are some general trends that we saw. And it was different for elementary than it was for secondary, which I guess kind of makes sense, but I was kind of surprised by it at the time. So the positive feedback for elementary, these are parents writing and saying, yeah, we love this, is really that staff are kind, welcoming, and supportive, right? And if you're going to have one thing that you want, and I can just ignore the rest of that data, isn't that what you want? Which is, it's an amazing data piece that's along the way. But they really enjoy the evening activities, like a lot of people talked about the bingo nights. Some people even talked about like Ed, I think did like a reading thing. Read across, yeah, probably should be more articulate with that.
You can come next year.
He wore a dye suit.
Yes, that's true. Right. Parents, elementary parents really enjoyed that. There's a lot of positive attributes around IEPs and really the team that actually happens as a result of that and the value of those things. and really looking at the student success and personal attention they got from their students. That came up over and over. Now think about a school that has, 500-600 students in it, and the fact that parents are saying they get individual attention.
That's really
Yeah.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
How do we hold on to that as we double in size?
Well, yeah, in spite of us busting at the seams, right?
In
Yep.
spite of that.
Right.
And how do we scale?
Yeah. Well, and I'm a big believer, and I've said this before to the board, that what you measure and what you celebrate and what you confront is always what you get.
Yep.
Well, this is important to us, and it has been to you all, and that gets emphasized across our system, so thank you for that. Really thinking about our growth areas in elementary, there's a lot of comments about facility improvements. Believe it or not, parking came up a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I know, I don't understand it, but yeah. So just having access, to the buildings, those kind of things came up quite a bit. There was also desire for more frequent communication regarding grades at the elementary school, because they get them, I think like once or twice a year, and really getting those in more frequent, because they want to partner with teachers to really get that. They talked about inclusion of educational decision-making for their students, so that they want to have like some of their own agency with their kids and talk about what works with their kids. And last one was more equitable learning opportunities for struggling. So I have a student who's struggling, right? So, what can we do? And it's a we, it's not like you. What can we do to really meet their needs along the way? So that I thought was really interesting in elementary. Now for me, I think about the first day of school for kindergarten, right? And I think about parents are super involved. Like they're really the kids won't literally let go of them, right? And as time goes on, the kids start pushing as opposed to pulling. And so this I thought was really interesting, that elementary data. And so we got to start thinking about with secondary, we're talking about middle and high school. What are some of the positive feedback areas of strength that they have? Well, staff communication, home, and timely responses to concerns. Timely responses to concerns came up a lot. So a parent was concerned, they felt like they can call and get a response fairly quickly, which is huge. Because as a former principal, you get a lot of those. And to make it timely it's just not easy to do. Another one's effective collaboration with counselors and administrators. So that they actually named people that they really appreciated in that. And I thought that was really, maybe that's small town, I don't know. But it was really great to see parents really elevating staff members and administrators. And then there was appreciation for online communication, those tools that we have. They talked about Parent Square, which I'll show you here in a second, and the updates that come via online. So that using the communication, the online communication was really important to them. And those positive experience with the front office staff. Now, maybe you walk in front offices every day. I've been to lots of them and I work with lots of them. Our front office staff across the board, I'm not just talking secondary, they are the best. They're amazing people.
I think that's really improved. I think that they've done a really good job at the schools of starting to hire people that actually like people and talk to them and are inviting. Because I think the same thing. It's amazing now. I haven't always felt that way, even as a parent or grandparent, but I think it's really good now. I think they've done a really good job of that.
Yeah, the level of kindness and care that you feel just when you walk in, and it could be literally anybody.
Right.
And that's what you want. That's what you want at every school, and that's across the board at every school we have.
And I am really glad that we have upped the amount of people we have working in those offices to help them with the amount of kids that we have, because the reality is that they work real hard. The more kids are, the more things they need to deal with. So I think that it's also been good that we have supported them, because there's been times in the past when that's not the case. So the data shows that is an important thing for us to do. So that's why I said that.
Feeling welcomed when you
Yes.
walk in. So, that's huge. When, as a parent walking in, you're like, hey, they're happy that I've come. And,
Yeah, not to mention the baggage that you hold as a person from your own school experience, right?
Exactly.
Going to the main office, like, oh, gotta go to the principal's office. So it can be kind of scary, and you get that. So if you have a front office staff that's welcoming, it really does help quite a bit in a lot of areas. Constructive feedback for secondary is really looking at the same thing around elementary, which is that increased partnership for academic decisions, not being just told what kids are doing and informed, but really that partnership that happens. The safety and supervision concerns, I think there's some consistency in secondary that came up quite a bit. The desire for partnership to support the student academically from home, like what came up, the H word, which is homework, which can be controversial, right? So if we send homework home with kids, then there's some equity issues with that, because some kids have a lot more support than others. And so that, but there were a lot of parents who said, hey, you know, if I want my kid to do homework, can they do it? And that came up quite a bit. And then the last one is more opportunities to be in schools beyond athletics and music. They want to be in schools for academic reasons, and I thought that was great. And so here's one of our measures also talks about the number of partnerships we have. And so these are all the opportunities, and I'm not going to read them off to you, that families have to really interact with students. And I want people at home that are watching this to know that we have lots of opportunities. If they really are wanting to get into schools, they can do that. It doesn't have to be during the school day either, because a lot of people work. In fact, most people work. And so there are opportunities to get into school and partner with your teachers and your administrators in schools along the way. This I thought was really cool. This is a shout out to Brittany, who does such a great job with our social media. We have a partnership, well, every school in Pierce County has this, it's called the Triple P partnership. And I learned this as I was doing research for this. These are free classes that we have for parents. So if you have a teenager at home that's being belligerent or crazy, right, they have classes for that, right? So if you have a student that you're, I don't know, first grade and they won't tell you what's happening at home, they have a class for that, right? And it's all free. It's 100% free and it's all online. And so I just wanted to point that out as that community partnership that happens more often than not, that we have this other opportunity for them.
Do the parents know that?
It's on our website.
Oh.
So do they know it? I don't know. I mean, maybe we can do a better job of getting it out there.
Let them know it's there.
Because if they're asking for help with struggling kids, I mean, this would be an answer to that, a part of an answer, whatever. So if they, I don't know, maybe we do a big shout out about it or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's personally, and you're not asking me to, and Ed's like, shut up, Aaron, but I don't think we should tell parents how to parent, but if they want resources to maybe think about things differently, that's there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Do we still have any of the in-person ones?
Not in the district, maybe in the county they do, but they've gone mostly online with a lot of these things.
Okay. The only thing is then there's the personal connection when we used to have some of the in-person ones.
Yeah, that's
why I asked.
Yeah, I mean, if we offered it, would they come? I don't know. I mean, that's something we can talk about and think about.
I used to teach the Love and Logic at night, and then we had dinner, and then they had babysitting for the kids while the parents came. We always had a big turnout to that, but that was not, maybe it's not like that now, but we always had a good turnout.
Yeah, learning with Love and Logic, yeah. Book study, right? It's a book.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, okay. The other part that we have is we have this great communication tool. Again, this is, think about Brittany, that's out there. Parent Square, there's a letter that was sent out. I don't know if you got one or not. But if you have a student in the district, this letter was sent out. And what it does is it gives you access to your students' SBA scores. And we have this secure document sharing in there. So it doesn't just go out. So the only person that can see the SBA scores of your student is you. And it's all through Parent Square, and the directions are right there. So that was sent out to every parent about a week ago.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife reviewed them.
Oh, good, yeah.
Yeah, she got it.
She used them. Yeah.
And so what that looks like is when you pull it up, it gives you your students' test results. It gives more than just the results. It talks about, one, what are the results, like what does it mean? It gives interpretations of a level 1, 2, 3, 4. But it also gives you like suggestions of what you can do at home, which I thought was really good and thoughtful. It gives a historical performance of your students. So like if they're in 4th grade and they took one last year in 3rd grade, you can kind of see, did they get better or do they sort of slip a little bit? And so there's some really good information in here. What I'd like to do with this is really copy California. California's got a system where the parents can download, or we can send these out, where it talks about the specific standards that we're focusing on. Now, if you remember a presentation that I did a while ago, we're talking about core competencies and what the focus is going to be. And so we're taking all these standards and we're focusing them down. So this document that will create an ordering version of this will do that. It'll tell parents what was our focus and what can you do from home to really support that. Not just in specific terms, but also general, like what are some things you can do to really set your student up for success. And it's not just to get them up and do their homework, it's specific things they can do with like math and specific things they can do with ELA.
I like that.
And so that's coming, I'm copying that from California, I can't take credit for that. But we have to get our core competencies like set first, and then we can develop these documents along the way. And so, and this last part is just, I wanted to point out, like, for us and really thinking about parent partnerships, we want to have meaningful, collaborative relationships with parents. And that meaningful part is super important. but then also cultivating a supportive network for kids. That's the reason why. So you're saying, Aaron, why do we care about parents being part of that beyond us, voting for bonds and levy? There really is an educational reason for it, right? Is that supportive, collaborative network. And if we really believe in agency, and I think we do, then we have to involve parents in that process, because students will never get involved, truly, and we'll never know our students well unless we know what their lives are like after school. So that's it. Questions? And the other question is, so if I ask you right now what Goal 2 is about, could you tell me?
Community partnership.
There we go. That's a teacher in me, sorry.
Check for understanding.
Probably, it's like, knock it off here.
I just kept thinking while you were talking that, graduation was like the perfect example of why the partnership is so important. When you would see who people were mingling with and who they were talking to, and, it's such a perfect example of that. It's a community. Education is a community event.
Yes, and I think that it's evolving to that. Like, it's always supposed to be that, but I think that now the consumers, which are really kids, and I'll say our kids are our biggest consumer, are demanding it, right? Like, we can no longer just go about teaching, the 6 or 7 hour school day and expect not to involve them as individuals and their parents, who are big influences. Like, we can't do it, and we just will never get there. We never will.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, we just have to find out a way to, like you said, to support the kids that don't have that. That's the thing. They have their parents at home, but what about these kids? What can we do to help these guys?
But then you can also help with some of these things, help them have some other connections too, so that they still have something.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Good stuff.
Good job, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron.
Good stuff.
New character unlocked. New character unlocked tonight. First presentation of pressure.
Found out about 20 minutes ago that there was no notes up here. I was like, oh, what? I said, no, you guys have it all. So there is a screen up here, which is very helpful. So,
Welcome.
thank you. It's real exciting, first time. Today I get the pleasure of talking about the capital facilities plan that outlines what's going to happen here in the next 6 years, or the plan for the next 6 years here in Orting. Very unique time, 24 years here in Orting. I'm just coming to terms probably in the last 18 months to what this district has in front of us, a lot more in the last 2 weeks. I know a lot of you know this, but our superintendent is very, very gifted, both financially, long-term planning. What he's able to outline in front of me, because I've asked all the questions that many of you and those you represent have asked, which is, what if it's just the valley? What if we don't do this? What if we do this? Is there a way that we can not go through this, what we're facing? Between this and the bond resolution I'm going to talk about here in a little bit, there's a lot of reasons why we're on a really exciting time, and a really exciting time for our kids. Our school district is 45 square miles, which in the state is not a large school district. It's 45 square miles. If you compare us to Enumclaw, they're 450 square miles. So the idea, our district started in the town core, so that's been really neat. Most people, I think back to Puyallup, when Puyallup was probably downtown and they were Puyallup, the idea of incorporating Graham at the end of Meridian was probably ridiculous. Or the town of Sumner talking about some woods way out in the Bonnie Lake and the Tulip, why are they in our district? So I think it's a natural growth problem for districts, and it's also a really natural financial solution to some really tough problems. So ahead of us, we have a whole bunch of kids we're going to serve that I'm really excited to talk about. But we haven't up till now been able to really afford that, and it's really been on the houses of very few rooftops in Orting to take care of that. And so we have a plan for the next 6 years, and here in a little bit I'll talk about a bond where we can maybe support those kids. So I just grabbed I knew you all got the facilities plan, and it was really exciting, very long read. But I'll highlight a few things for you. First up is just our natural existing school facilities and our capacities. You'll see that the parentheses there are where we are at deficit. Something you need to know about capacity, when the school says has capacity, let's say the middle school at 48, that's a pretty limited number. So to get to capacity, like let's say in a 6-period day, you would need teachers to leave that room, vacate it, and use that period when it's open. So when you see a capacity number, it doesn't mean that's an empty classroom that we could have a whole day of kids in when you see 48. That means There's 48 seats, if everything worked perfectly and efficiently, which we know doesn't work in the schoolhouse. So that's a note on those numbers. You will see these are current numbers with the West Wing, with the elementary school, and our new portables out in the high school. You'll see those numbers. So a few quick things to touch on. OES, with the West Wing addition is helped, but it's still beyond permanent capacity even after adding 6 entire classrooms. PTR, about half the school, half of their capacity is in portable classrooms right now. OMS is right at capacities, portables, that'll be the next solution at that campus here shortly. We don't have much more room, there's not empty rooms to fill in at the middle school. And then Orting High School, we have 60% of that school will be housed in portables, with over 600 students each period in 22 portable classrooms this year. Yeah, big picture, we've used every ounce of space in the district and have a significant footprint of over 1,200 student seats in portable classrooms. So 1,200 kids a day go home and they're going to tell their parents, I sat in a portable classroom. So that's just kind of the scope of where we're currently at, which I think our teachers are doing a really good job with, based on some of the academic outcomes we're seeing. District parcels, I know we know about. There's not a lot of district property. There's not a lot of property to be gained. Us getting that parcel next door was huge. A win by our superintendent and a local advocate. Getting that area allows us to build the last buildable place inside of the city in the valley. We have the Orville Road property. It's not buildable, maybe one day in the future. Something we could do there, transportation or some auxiliary space, but definitely valuable property for the district as well. New construction. This is probably the big story for everyone. I don't know if you can see all those numbers. What you're looking at is 5,917 homes that are projected to be built by 2033, with approximately 2,700 students to come in that time frame. We've seen some of this already begin. We're at a very low place in that. You can see this. This gives you an idea of where we're living. We're living in that 41 right now. And talking to Marcy, we've got more impact fees than that. I think that this is only in 4 developments. This is not everything being built. When you look at the Corliss property in town, you look at the old Schoenbachler farm, when you look at Bud's place up on the hill, or just general building on properties around, none of that is in this building. This is literally on 4 developers that have talked to us.
So none of the new stuff?
No. So you'll see we're at the bottom of that, and what's about to hit us is really, really significant. The number of homes in the build out are 600-700 and more in the next 3-4 years here. So it's going to be really significant, and we're definitely going to feel the welcome of those children. Enrollment projections. You can see next year we're projected to be at just over 2,800 students. Put that out a few short years, 5-6 years from now, we're at 4,400 students. For perspective, high school principal, in athletics, that means at the next count, we are projected to be into 3A and will be 200 students from 4A. At the end of this cycle, we would be a 4A high school. We'd be in the top 60 largest schools in the state, and we will be in the facility we're currently in based on our current schedule. So just size-wise to give you scope of what does a 4A high school look like, how many elementaries do they have, where do we put all those children? That's the situation we'll be in here by the end of this plan in 6 years.
So we'll be all going into 3A at the high end.
Yeah, we'll be 200
because
short
we're
of
always
4A.
usually at the low end of things.
Now, these are enrollment projections, and they're always wrong. We don't know where they're going to be wrong or how they're going to be wrong. Historically, we have seen a bit less, I'll talk about it here in a minute, but a number of kids that are coming per home. We've seen a little less than demographers project, with birth rate going down and just some other factors. So it's not all doomsday, but there are definitely children coming. If you go up into Uplands, there are quite a bit. There are homes everywhere, hundreds and hundreds. There are a set of townhomes, an entire set of townhomes that are moving in next month too, and apartments beginning here soon, up there in our district, all in our districts. Facility deficiencies. If we do not add any capacity, we would be, by the end of this plan, we would be 1,300 students unhoused and over our capacity, district-wide. That would be with portables. So if we use every square inch we have here in every single seat, we'll be 1,300 short. Next year, you'll see total, we're right at the limit, 25, 26, and 26, 27. We're right at our capacity limit with the number of portables we've put in and all the spaces we're using right there, and then we're going to begin to quickly phase out of even portable space.
So then we're gonna have to look at another space to put up portables, if we have to do portables.
Yes. Later on, you guys are considered a bond measure. Even if the bond measure comes in, there's going to need to be portables to house the students prior to that even being built. And then once Ording Elementary was to open up, we can talk about that a little bit, that gives a lot of wiggle room to the high school and some different spaces that we can spread out and start to do some really cool things for kids. So,
Sorry.
I'm glad I'm a high school principal moving to the elementary school, but it'll be fun to watch. You know, you commissioned a bond task force to make recommendations. I know these recommendations, but just a reminder, they were really concerned with staying laser focused on the highest priorities for our community. It's a tough time. We can get behind building for our kids, but we need to know what is the most and the absolute most essential and leave it at that. So the suggestion was a 600 student elementary on the new property and a 200 plus student CT addition to the high school. That would include renovations to the science and culinary labs, convert culinary and STEM labs into agriculture mechanics shop, and an agricultural classroom space. We'll talk about that here in a little bit and elaborate on that, but that is the recommendations that are considered in this next slide. So if we took those recommended steps, it's a much healthier projection for, we're still hitting capacity quickly. I think portables are always going to be part of our story, and just I think Western Washington general portables. I think portables can be healthy. If you have the auxiliary space, the gym space, the cafeterias, portables can be a part of a healthy school ecosystem. It's just when you get too much of that and too much imbalance where we're at right now.
If you have the auxiliary space.
If you have the auxiliary space, if you have those gyms and cafeterias and bathrooms and
Yes.
proper facilities that are safe and sound and the level of care that we expect for all our kids to do great things. So when I do see parentheses as we get towards 2030, we start thinking about, is there another elementary school? Is it supporting those 3,000 homes that are coming into Holly? What does that look like? I think we have a healthy projection moving forward if we do decide to build a new elementary school. Financial plan, this is just something we need to report as we often ask for impact fees from our builders. Here in Pierce County, that's a little different system we'll talk about in a minute, but we have to report how are you planning on paying forward what you need to do in your capital facilities to make room for the students. So that's laid out here. You can see the cost of the elementary school, we'll talk about in a minute. Early learning facility, temporary facilities we might need at the middle, high, and other sites. And then potential builds and other sites up into Holly. So that's reported to Pierce County so that we can project what does it cost when we add students to our families and our taxpayers. This is the generation rate that you'll see. How do we fund for these? So a general obligation bond measure is how most all people, especially in Pierce County, build a school. The district's bonding capacity is strong, improving over time. The number of homes that are coming in, the value of those homes is really adding capacity to our ability. We've seen that skyrocket over the last few years. We have a construction assistance program for the school. We gather impact fees from all the builders in Pierce County, and then the students generate funding themselves. Right now, the numbers we're using is 0.49 students per house is what demographers are using to predict how many kids are coming, and then 0.24 kids in a multifamily, like an apartment or townhouse, which was kind of surprising to me. I don't know, I thought those would be more similar. I think, Ed and I were talking superintendent math. He's thinking we're probably closer to 0.4, 0.38, 0.35, somewhere in there. We're gonna, as we see Daybreak build out, we might do some really hard math. How many houses came? And then let's look at the busing figures and how many kids actually came from that. I think we can even hone in that number closer than a demographer. So we're gonna do that work. This is a bit of sad story. Impact fees. So Pierce County, to my knowledge, I believe is the least funded by builders in our state. If you go to King County, you calculate a rate, they cut that rate in half. For us, that would be about $25,000. If we were in King County, that's about what we would get every time someone moves into a new home. $10,000 for multifamily, $25,000 for a new family is the cost we calculate to our district for when those homes come in. Pierce County puts us about $4,500.
$4,595.
$4,595, it's a flat fee. If we were in King County, we would be building our elementary scot-free without any cost to the taxpayers. So your superintendent and many other superintendents around us are doing some advocacy right now with our county and our legislature about is there a way that we can have builders even tie in? We don't even need what King County gets, but could you imagine doubling that amount? Millions and millions of dollars to the families and taxpayers of Orting. So that's currently our impact fee schedule that we're working with right now. So people often ask us, why don't the builders pay for this? They do, $4,500 per household. So if they move their building operation to development from King County here, they're going to save over $20,000 per house just by building it across our county line.
I forgot, how long has the impact fees been at the rate they are now?
They reset every year, but the current structure was established about 2019, and it stair-steps around a couple % per year. Meanwhile, as you're about to see, just a sneak peek, our construction estimates on the elementary alone have grown by about 43% since 2023, while your impact fees have gone up about 6%. So the cost, King County, Pierce County, Snohomish are some of the highest costs in the nation, actually. And so we're trying to fight ongoing so that growth helps to pay its fair share and local or current taxpayers don't get disproportionately burdened. So that's an ongoing fight, but yeah, that's what's happening. So that gap keeps widening, which means every time we put a bond measure that we don't pass, just the costs keep growing. And so that's part of what the fight is, and we'll have a call again next week to find out what's going on, and a letter that we'll file to all Pierce County council members, just encouraging them to continue to come back to this.
Pierce County just did add last month in their county council meeting ADUs.
What?
Did not, ADUs, so additional dwelling units on a home like a mother-in-law, inside or outside, connected or not connected, you now pay half an impact fee for those. So if someone adds a place that has the mom and pop apartment downstairs, you get
Half an impact fee.
you get $2,300.
So I feel like education and teaching children are the only time we're seeing that term of equity, because it doesn't exist in helping the schools house the children.
And I always want the public to remember that we don't get to decide on how much the impact fees are, and we don't get to decide whether we can handle another development. We've got no say.
In my short time in this job, I've seen multiple communications from your superintendent to constituents about that exact.
Yes, because a lot of people think that we just set
Yes.
the fee.
And there are no impact fees, as I understand it, paid by people living in RVs.
Not that I'm aware of, no, they wouldn't have a building permit, no.
There's
It's
a
on
handful of
occupation.
communities that are basically permanent communities.
Correct.
Yeah, they would not pay.
They do not pay.
But the city's also shortened the amount of land that you have to put things on. So like, that's why we're seeing that big tall building there, because now you don't have to have as much land to build another house behind you or beside you. Or so, you know,
As long as
that's,
they have a building permit, and once they occupy that, we would get that impact fee, so.
Correct.
Interesting.
Any questions for me on your capital facilities plan?
Every time we go through this particular presentation, I just feel more urgency and more gut-wrenching. Like, it's hot in here, but I'm sweating it, because, I'm speechless. It's really sad. It's scary.
Well, we've got a plan.
We have a plan, yes.
We've got hope, we've got nothing.
It's the fight, right?
We've got hope.
It's the fight. We're gonna take on that fight.
Would you mind advising them just next steps of what they're going to see next month with regard to approval?
Next month, we'll put forward a resolution. We've entered in with Pierce County, we put in for the register, the SEPA register, to make sure that we have no environmental impact based on this facility plan. We're not building anything in this facility plan yet, so we don't have any impacts. So we'll get that approved by the Pierce County Council, then we'll incorporate our plan into their county council plan, and then next month, you'll vote on a resolution to approve the capital facility plan.
Thank you. And for our community, the capital facilities plan is available on our website if anyone would like to see all the facts leading up to any future bonds.
Yeah, more than welcome to give me a call.
Yeah.
thank you.
Well done.
Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Good job.
And the future bond is in just a short minute.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. Next item on our agenda, confirming I'm not skipping ahead like I'm prone to do, is second reading for a handful of policies and procedures. And if there's no discussion, I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the second reading of policy considerations.
Can I get a second?
I second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. And next item is our consent agenda. You can see all the contents of that there. And I will ask for a motion.
I move to approve items 1 through 6 on the consent agenda.
Second?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. We have a number of action items tonight. All the documentation is available in board docs, and we've all reviewed it in advance. So the first item is presented by Director Freeze. I have to train my mouth not to call you Principal Freeze.
I know.
This is not a long one. So, up for your consideration is a proposal to run a bond on November 4th. And so we're going to discuss what is involved in that bond. So I'll talk a little bit about current bond. The current bond is set at $137.2 million. We decided to get a laser focus and to shrink the number of things we were covering, and you'll notice the price tag has went up. So that on surface is like, what the heck? That laser-like focus just grew. So I want you to see what that entails. A new elementary school is now $110 million. Orion High School CTE edition is now $38.3 million. We do have a potential state match allocation that we're going to pursue, which we should get at $11.1 million, which will give a total package to the voters of $137.2 million. I want to draw your attention over to 2024 November. You'll see the new elementary school was $93 million. Orion High School edition was $23 million. And then we had portable additions, PTR cafeteria, safety, health, and security updates, and a similar state matching for $119.2 million. So what changed? We met with the architect, Matt Rubon, his company, and he worked really hard. One, it's very hard right now. Whenever we go and we escalate price in the consumer market, construction prices escalate much, much further. Contractors are able to capture in bids as much or more of that as they can. We know there's a lot of international politics right now that are changing the price of goods. But what Matt explained to me were his biggest changes or deltas were site work costs, putting those pilings in the ground and preparing the site. He saw a huge escalated cost on both labor and materials for that. Lumber and materials went up significantly, labor in general. Market inconsistencies, so there's always contingencies that are built for taxpayers to make sure that we don't go over budget and make sure we promise and deliver on what we said we would do. So making sure we have proper consistencies for the really variable market right now. And then a proportional sales tax, a lot of people don't realize this, but we pay about 9.5% tax to the state from the tax dollars. So when you're looking at borrowing $137 million, you're going to have a $10 or $12 million tax bill just in taxes.
I have to say, that was an eye-opener to several people that were on the committee that looked at this when they found that out.
Yeah. Tax, state tax.
Yes. Now, what you'll see is the tax rate, which is odd. We were going to borrow less money and we were going to pay more for it. So it was going to be $1.51 per thousand for assessed valuation of your home. Now it's $1.27. We are finally getting to see some hurrah and some benefit from all the growth, and that is there are more people to take on the debt. The values of those roofs that we're seeing are going up, so the tax burden is spread amongst way more people, which is the benefit of not being a tiny school district, is there's not a few people, many of them that are aging and senior citizens, that are trying to support their kids and pay for schools. So we're finally getting young families with larger incomes in different areas to share in the burden of what right now is Orion Valley Schools. You can see on the bottom, it's really small there, the total assessed valuation We are at $3,900,000,000 about of assessed valuation for our district. And why that's important is you can borrow 5% of your assessed value for the district. So right now we have the bonding capacity or the borrowing capacity for about $191 million. So it takes a really long time to build that amount up. When you take, let's say, a 21-year bond on that, it takes away from your debt capacity for that full year for everything you own. So holding some capacity there to what we know is coming in the future, which is more schools, more additions, more needs, is one of the reasons why I think your bond task force said we don't want to use all that. And there definitely has to be some rainy day for future growth. Historical bond cost for you and for those you represent. Going all the way back to when we built Ptarmigan Ridge Elementary, we've passed 2 bonds in the last, I think, 14 attempts. PTR Elementary was built for $10 million back in '98. And then moving forward, the entire Orting Middle School, the Orting High School addition, and the stadium were built for $29 million. Then we ran 2 bonds in 2017 in February and November. Those elementary schools were slotted for, at 43,000 with 700 students, or larger than we're building for $43 million. And then, the last package we ran for $117 million with all was in it. So the price escalation over time is definitely costing us and costing our community millions of dollars, literally. So we years ago, we could have built it for just over what our tax bill is going to be.
Cliff, I just wanted to comment, the difference between the 2024 bond and the 2025 bond, it was through the work of the task force and their recommendation to us, as you said, that we get laser focused and only put those 2 items in this bond package. What I want to acknowledge is that the needs in 2024 have not gone away, that they are absolutely still present, and our schools are still trying to find a way to push through those. They didn't just go away. So I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah, we're slotted to get between 500 and 600 students probably by the time the doors open to the elementary school, K-5.
Yeah.
So bond considerations, Western Washington new school construction rates. We asked our architect, what are you building here? Is this a Taj Mahal? Is this bottom of the barrel? What are our taxpayers getting? Because we want a balance of, we don't want the fancy school around that we can brag to people, but we want to make sure that it's worth it for our taxpayers. So they range from $536 a square foot to $776. Our cost estimate is about $560. So we're in a nice healthy place at the lower end of the scale for what the cost will be for the build. Matt and NEC used the following parameters and their design estimating costs that our community has shared with them, our values. 1, low maintenance materials. We don't want to be constantly repainting or have to hire a whole bunch of maintenance workers to maintain our facilities. We want the value add district and community with curb appeal and high quality materials. So we don't want it to look like a jail in the middle of our town. We want it to look like somewhere that we can be proud of and our home values can rise. Maintain low-cost alternatives without sacrificing longevity and maintenance. Built-in contingencies that match market material cost volatility. Appropriate furniture, technology infrastructure, HVAC, and safety for a modern elementary school. So those are the things we kind of gave as parameters that he was able to pull us in about $561 to go to bid. That's what he believes will be it.
I think it'll be really important to talk to the public about this, because the one question I honestly get more than anything is, why can't we just build a very simple school without the big windows and just like a box school? And I honestly get that question a lot. And I think that there's some good reasons right there, but I think we really need to let them know this is why we're not doing that, And I don't know that we've done that exactly before.
No, I was thinking the same. I haven't seen the 561. I'm sure it was in
something,
the spreadsheets that we reviewed, but the 561 per square foot when the average is 536 to 776.
Yeah.
I agree with you. We want to get that out there, and then kind of the methodology. I think that's important that people know all those were considered.
And another thing that comes up, with the, well, why don't you just remodel? And then you have to explain to them that would cost way more.
Yes.
And the other thing that really appeals to people is that when you have a new building, thinking of the design that went in, it has to do with We're going to save money with electrical, we're going to save money with maintenance, we're going to save money because we don't have the upkeep that we've had with OPS.
Another thing I haven't said publicly, but knowing that there's going to be elementaries in the future, we're definitely leaning into, can this design be used again and saved us significant dollars in the future? So build a design that can be modified and altered, that's not a one-off design for this particular space. So I'm looking at, can this be repeated elsewhere for different people as well. Just so you know, taxes for this bond won't be collected until April of '27, but the bonds can be sold, so we can start the work in spring of 2026, just for taxpayer planning purposes. That's an outcome. So just the recap for people, if you take this consideration and you choose to push forward a bond for November, 137.2 total, 110 million for the elementary school, that will be about 600 kids, or if we can push it inside of a bid. Ording High School CTE edition, 38.3 million. That's going to have your science labs for chemistry and physics and physical science, double science labs with space in between for preparatory. We're going to have, so that will be 4 total. It's going to have a STEM lab where you can think makerspace, science, robotics, engineering. And then new this time is the culinary space. So we looked at remodeling the old culinary space in the building that is falling off, and we know probably has less than 15 years of lifespan in it. The cost was way too prohibitive to remodel that into an OK space. And instead, we just moved the culinary lab with the rest of the CT partners and all our career and tech preparation inside that addition. Then we can remodel our old shop, which became STEM, back into a modern ag mechanic shop for a pretty low price actually for a mechanical shop. And then across the hall will be a classroom space that you could use for ag mechanics and floral design and other agricultural industry classes. So.
I think that was a great decision. It was very proactive, very efficient. I was very happy when I heard that, yeah.
And safe. There's no ventilation in the culinary lab. It's going to burn down.
Yes, and we will be able to get rid of, I know John noticed the lab that has the crack.
Yeah, we won't be able to get rid of it, but we won't be mixing chemicals among the So that's possible state match 11.1 million. We do have, you can get a touch more than that, but we want to be safe and make sure that we don't overpromise. So 11.1 million is a pretty responsible number to try to get from the state. For a total project cost of 137.2, that's $1.27 per thousand. Pretty confident that we've went back over 20 years and looked at what has been our valuation growth with new homes, without new homes. Both are well over 9%. And so we feel like we have a good calculation that should stay put in the foreseeable future. And that plays out to about $635 a year for a home worth $500,000, and double that if you have $1 million home. And that begins in April 2027. Any questions?
I'm glad you had that slide because I was wanting to know what it monthly.
One of the things you discussed was with Matt Rumbaugh and his breaking down kind of the volatility of materials. So I don't know about any of you, but I went to go buy my dog her flea and tick medicine and it had frickin' doubled in price, excuse me. So I'm curious, with all that work that you guys have done with making sure that his numbers, he's feeling pretty good about that. I know there's no crystal ball. I just want to make sure that there is enough cushion in there. I would much rather, I just don't want to be in a position again where suddenly our materials cost 30 or 40% more and we've only maybe budgeted for, a 25% increase in materials. I know we can't nail that down, but I just want to make sure we have enough cushion.
Superintendent Hatzenbitter had the option of, do we just go with the old quote? He actually asked Matt, this was, I don't know, a month ago, maybe? We need them redone to current standards. So he went through and actually got back to us twice with 2 different revisions. We did question, what is the contingency you're doing? We know we have talk of different countries and costs of goods and tariffs and all that. So we asked specifically, is that incorporated into your plan? Do you have contingency for our taxpayers? And both Ed and I are comfortable he did have a very different contingency package than we've seen in the past.
Okay.
I am personally confident we can deliver what we promised to the taxpayer because it's a necessity. If we fail to do so, we will sink our future bond for decades. And my goal working with Cliff is that we can beat our timeline and beat that cost. And you think about variables, right? If we can get impact fees just to go to what the 7-county average is, that's a $10 million bill that can save our local taxpayer. If we can get close to King County, it's a $100 million bill. If you think about state match, we left a little bit of flexibility there that we can access in this project or a future project. And we have contingency built within that scope for both hard costs and soft costs. So we definitely have some things up our sleeve in case we get some wild bids. And if we get favorable bids, then we're going to look to add 100 student addition on there for another $2.8 million at no added cost to the taxpayer, but within that previously approved allocation. And the fourth kicker that we have is we're going to keep fighting for adequate funding from state match. Our costs are nearly $850 a square foot. They're giving us $450 and only covering 5%. So we want to fight not only at the cost per square foot, but for adequate state match, not inadequate state match.
State match
So that'll be an ongoing fight with the state legislature. So add it all up, we have 4 different ways over the lifespan here that we think we can make this scenario better for the taxpayer. But we need supermajority support to get started. So
And our projections are based on 4 builders, remember. There are other people that are moving to the Oregon School District in different places that are not part of that. But we felt confident if we just use those larger numbers that have a lot more demographic studying done and long-term planning.
So, and state match is an after.
After voters approve and only if voters approve at the supermajority.
So it's then, it's not after it's built?
Not after it's built, but we have to meet certain obligations. What they'll do, they'll take that budget, we'll divide it across 10 funding or revenue categories, and we have to meet a certain agreed amount of, for each of those categories before we qualify for state match. In other words, we have to spend our money before we can access match. And then what we do with your owner's rep and your architect, we take that and divvy it up by project. And then we work with the state. It's called the D-form process, and it starts with D1, ends with D10. And you'll see this along the way because we'll hire the owner's rep. But she'll paint that out so you, our taxpayer, can see here's how much architecture is going to cost. Here's how much building's going to cost. Here's how much permit. So line item by line item, once we meet that obligation, then we can claim it from the state. But we do it every month. That way we don't wait to the end of the project to get money back in the account. So Cliff will do a claim or Marcy each month, and then the money comes back in, and then we keep writing checks.
So if the state's educational budget changes?
We can access more state match.
No, what if it changes? Can they make it less?
Well, sure, the legislature could say we don't have any money for state match. Yes, they could.
Yes, so I'm just saying because things have been, we've talked this evening about several things that we're not sure about. So that's why I was asking that.
And I'll end with this because I know sometimes it feels like we've been here before.
Yes.
But again, since I've been here in 2017, the majority of this community continues to say, yes, we want to build for students. We are in a numerical mathematical problem that we just got to get folks out. We're seeing increasing support every single time. We remember the last few days of that last bond, we should have grew maybe 1% or 1.5%. We're going 4 or 5%. We have an uprising community of people that want to take care of our kids and do want to give adequate facilities and adequate care to our kids. And so it is not a community that's voting against a bond. We clearly have a community that's voting for a bond. We have a state where we have to get a super majority is what we're battling against. So we have a community that is supportive and knows the needs of our kids, and I have no doubt that they're going to continue to support us.
Do we have anything, I was just wondering, in that contract or when we do it, that, let's say they make a mistake on something, do we have money that, who pays for that, I guess? I'm asking that question because I know it's happening a lot.
Even like a builder makes mistakes?
Yes.
So we do have a builder's rep, and we do have legal counsel, and we do have contracts, and that gets very muddy. It depends on the mistake and stuff, but just because we hire someone like a contractor in your home, there are times where a mistake, because we didn't catch it or it was something we asked for that maybe we had to pay for, but if we have a builder who clearly is deficient in what they were doing, we have an owner's rep and legal team to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to.
Your gravy, for the most part, once we get the bid in hand. So if approved in November, it'll probably be about a year before we get a bid, but the contractor will lock in pricing over the scope of this project on commodities and materials. So at that point, we'll be able to take a deep breath, but every month, the public, you, the committee you bring on board to help monitor and oversee this, will be apprised of what are the change orders, what's happening, and the fact is you just end up arguing. And you argue about that very same point, and sometimes you meet halfway, and sometimes you don't budge at all because your owner rep's gonna say, that's not your fault, you shouldn't pay that obligation. But yeah, there'll be lots of change orders, and we do budget for change orders within the scope of that budget.
Probably the largest contingencies, change orders.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to recap, I wanted to make that point that when we formed the bond task force to bring the recommendation to the board for this particular bond package, we also made a commitment to the community to have a bond oversight committee who will be involved every step of the way, month by month, monitoring those expenses and project progression, and that'll be comprised of community members. So that's a commitment that the board has made and the district has made before we proceed with all of this stuff. So we're hoping with a favorable vote from the community that we can move forward.
Any other questions from me on the bond?
Thank you.
We know how to make a short presentation long.
Aaron's like, find someone else.
We're engaged and we care. All right, board. Within board docs, you have resolution. And following Director Freese's presentation, I will ask for a motion.
I move to approve resolution number, I think I'm on the right one, 4.2024-2025 for a bond in November 2025 election.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. That's a big one. It's a heavy one.
Wow, you did
It's a
it.
heavy one. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. Okay. This one is actually very light and exciting. This next one is prepared by, so there's no presentation to precede it, but this is for scholarship acceptance of the Karen Weaver Barham Scholarship. And it's just very cool, so I will ask for a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 5.2024-25 for the scholarship acceptance of the Karen Weaver Barham Scholarship.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. This next action is we are transferring funds from a private purpose trust fund to the ASB fund. I will take a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 6.2024-2025 for the transfer of funds from the private purpose trust fund to the Associated Student Body Fund.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Quickly, I would like to thank, I had some questions on that one, and I wanted to thank Marcy for getting back to me in such depth and detail to help me understand that.
Thank you for getting back to Melissa's questions, what helped me also understand
say thank
what
you
was
for the
happening. All right. This one is our annual fee schedule for the 2025-26 school year. Can I get a motion?
I move to approve the 2025-2026 fee schedule as presented.
I second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Oh, we're clicking. Sorry.
New character unlocked.
Yeah. Carrie, welcome.
Hello, nice to see everybody. It is truly an honor to be here in my new capacity. Thank you. What I'm talking about tonight is PSC successor CBA bargaining. Bargaining began by mutual agreement on February 7th, following 4 productive and respectful negotiation sessions with PSC leadership and their team. The tentative agreement was reached on June 3rd. After a membership vote held between June 24th and 26th, HR was notified on June 26th that the agreement was ratified with a strong majority in favor. This agreement aligns with the board-approved bargaining parameters. Staff recommend approval of the 25-26 successor collective bargaining agreement, 25 to 2028. If approved, the agreement will be in effect from September 1, 2025 through August 31st, 2028.
Wonderful. Great. I'll speak once. We have another bargaining agreement following this one, but I want to thank the partnership between the district and our union representatives, and I just really appreciate the collaborative conversations that took place and the work went into getting this.
Yeah, one thing to say with that, usually bargaining can really streamline and end up through the summer, and this was even in 4 sessions done by June.
Yeah,
which was really nice.
Wonderful. We appreciate that partnership very much. So with this first one, for our public school employees, I will take a motion.
I move to approve the 2025 through 2028 Ording School District and Public School Employees Collective Bargaining Tentative Agreement as presented, effective September 1st, 2025.
Second it. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And now we have OXA.
Yes. So with OXA, negotiations began by mutual agreement on March 28th. We had, following, again, just 4 productive and collaborative negotiations sessions between OXA bargaining team. A tentative agreement was reached on June 4th. After a membership vote held prior to the end of the 24-25 school year, OXA leadership notified Human Resources that the agreement was ratified with a very strong majority in favor. The agreement, again, with this one as well, aligns with board-approved bargaining parameters. Staff recommend approval of the 25 to 2028 successor collective bargaining agreement. If approved, this agreement will be in effect from August 1, 2025 through July 31st, 2028.
Wonderful. Thank you. Can I get a motion?
I move to approve the 2025 to 2028 Ording School District and Ording Extracurricular Association Collective Bargaining Tentative Agreement as presented, effective September 1st, 2025.
Second.
Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Director Joy. All right. Next item, number 7, is our 2025-2026 non-represented salary schedule. And there's no presentation, so I will ask for a motion.
I move to approve the 2025-2026 non-represented salary schedule as prepared with an effective date of September 1st, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And on the heels of that, we have our executive directors and directors' salary schedule for 2025-2026. I will take a motion.
I move to approve the 2025-2026 director's salary schedule as presented with an effective date of July 1st, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We are just getting it done tonight.
Feel so productive.
Right? All right. We have a CTE conditional certificate for consideration. If there's no discussion, I will take a motion.
I move to approve the request for issuance of a new CTE conditional certificate by OSPI for the 2025-26 school year.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. thing on our agenda, board comments. I would just like to again express my gratitude to the board for preparing for these meetings. We just processed a whole lot of business that took a whole lot of homework and time investment in reading for everyone involved. So thank you. Makes our meetings go efficiently.
And thank you, Bonnie, for always getting to us in
Yes.
plenty of time.
Yes.
And I just want to remind the public and anybody that's here that there was a lot of information, and you can always go back and re-access it through the website and through the board meetings.
Exactly, thank you. Yeah, we have a intent, desire, objective to be very transparent in our work. So all of the documents are available for public consumption on our website through board docs.
I just wanted to officially thank both Carrie Joy and Cliff Reeves for their first official board meeting night in your new roles. It's great to see you both here.
Yes.
Thank you, yes. Very good. Anything else? Thank you all for sticking it out today. We appreciate it.
It didn't get as hot as I thought it was going to be in here. I thought, do I need to wear one of those necklaces? Well, I know.
Wait, I have to adjourn the meeting. I will adjourn tonight's meeting at 7:51 p.m.
And it's just a